Good afternoon and welcome to CoreTV News and this hour. I am Nina Nyama. President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the National Hajj Commission and the Nigerian Embassy in Saudi Arabia to urgently account for all the Nigerian pilgrims in the Holy Land. In a statement today, Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, explained that the presidential order was necessitated by the conflicting reports of the number of Nigerians who died and suffered injuries in the disaster. He said the president is concerned that days after the incident, some Nigerian families are still grappling with painful uncertainty over the fate of their relatives who traveled to Saudi Arabia for this year's Hajj. President Buhari also directed the Hajj Commission, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Nigerian Embassy in Saudi Arabia to give all necessary assistance to Nigerians who are still receiving treatment in the country. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACO, has confirmed the death of 54 Nigerians in the deadly stampede in Mina, Saudi Arabia, during this year's Hajj. The chairman of NACO, Abdullahi Mukhtar Mohammed, who disclosed this today, said 42 out of the 54 persons that died were from state pilgrims, including 2 NACON officials, while others were among those on the pilgrimage by private car operators. Mohammed listed the 15 states that lost its pilgrims, including Bauchi, Borno, Zamfara, Cross River, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Sokoto, Taraba, and Yobe states. The Sokoto State Pilgrims Welfare Agency has revealed that Sheikh Liman Dan Atta, the chief imam of the Sultan Abubakar III Jamaat Mosque, Sokoto, is among those killed in the stampede in Mina, Saudi Arabia. Media assistant to the agency, Farouk Omaru, made this known on Sunday. The revelation came in the heels of a statement by Governor Aminu Tambuwal's spokesman, Imam, who confirmed the death of 9 other pilgrims from the state in the Mina stampede. The immediate caretaker chairman of Ilela local government area of the state, Bello Gidan Hama, his mother, stepmother, and 2 wives also died in the stampede. Still on the Mina stampede, the Jamaatu Nasrul Islam, led by the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Said Abubakar III, has urged Saudi Arabian authorities to probe the stampede, which led to the death of about 769 Muslims in this year's Hajj operation. Fiery Islamic cleric and leader of the Shiite movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaki, has attributed the tragedy to a Saudi Arabian prince whose convoy allegedly caused the stampede. He said the prince and others fingers in the tragedy should be sentenced to death. While commiserating with the families of the victims of the tragedy, the JNI urged Muslims never to be deterred, but rather remain steadfast in the current challenges confronting them. It noted that it is gratifying that the Saudi authorities are doing all they can to make the Hajj operation smooth, but added that investigation into what led to the tragedy is necessary. Away from that, President Muhammadu Buhari has restated his determination to fully sanitize the country's oil industry and make it totally free of corruption and shady deals. President Buhari, during a meeting with the President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the 70th General Assembly of the United Nations, said the first step has been taken with the appointment of a new management for the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and a subsequent reorganization. The president said the prosecution of those who misappropriated NNPC's revenue under past administrations will commence soon. The federal government says despite the isolated violence being witnessed in some parts of the country, Nigeria is winning the war against the Boko Haram sect. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Aliyu Ismaila, who disclosed this to journalists today in New York, said the nation's security agencies are ready to end insurgency in the country within the deadline given to them by President Muhammadu Buhari. Ismaila pointed out that the necessary machineries has been put in place to meet the deadline. The army has appealed to Nigerians to support its efforts to end the Boko Haram insurgency. Addressing journalists in Maiduguri, the theatre commander operation Lafia Dole, Major General Yashu Abubakar, said one of the key roles that people could play is volunteering of vital information. He explained that the war cannot succeed through military operations alone, adding that the operation should be seen as inclusive, where everybody has a role to play. Abubakar further advised Nigerians to form vigilante groups in their localities and places of work to prevent terrorist attacks. Away from security, former Senator Femi Okoromo has condemned the crisis rocking the Senate as unnecessary but expected. Okoromo, who represented Ogun Central, says the playout in the Senate is a result when men of strange beds form an alliance they have no clue of sustaining. For him, it would not be the best of excuse if the president ascribed the crisis in the Senate to not meeting up with the deadline of appointing his ministers before the end of the month. He stressed that no successful government is run properly in isolation.
So the president, as far as those who, as his propagandists are concerned, can do no wrong. So even if he delays by another 3 months, they will say, oh, things have been spoiled so to such an extent that they must correct them before he appoints ministers. These are all excuses and rationalizations. There is no provision in the Constitution for a president to govern alone as a sole administrator. Our Constitution is clear on that. Right from the first day he becomes president, it is incumbent upon him to send his list of ministers to the National Assembly. Even though there is no specification as to within how many days he must send it, but the Constitution makes it clear that he cannot govern alone. He must govern with ministers. So to that extent, any governance without ministers is governance as a sole administrator, which is not provided for in the Constitution.
We'll take a break now, return with more stories. Just stay with us.
Some pundits believe that as long as the political system is driven by selected few, corruption may be difficult to fight.
You should be careful about what you say.
I am not the only politician. Even if I've wronged anyone, it's time to forgive me.
Please for Arena every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. and a repeat broadcast every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
Glad to have you back. You're still watching CoreTV News and this hour. For more of our news stories, join us on the social media platforms. Facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. On our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV Liverspace News. As the Bayelsa state governorship election draws near, the governor of the state, Seriake Dixon, is quite optimistic that the All Progressive Congress (APC) cannot gain any ground in the states.
We know there's no contest, there's no challenge. What you hear about, what you read about is all propaganda. There's no APC in Bayelsa to threaten us.
And now to Imo State, a meeting between the state governor, Rochas Okorocha, and labor leaders has ended without a concrete resolution to the issues of unpaid workers' salaries. Addressing journalists at the Simon Bakwe Executive Chambers at Imo State Government House, labor union leaders disclosed that the crisis is far from being over as the meeting ended in a deadlock. While the state governor, Rochas Okorocha, reserves to adopt the style of other state governments in resolving the unpaid salary crisis, civil servants in the state are not willing to tie his line of action.
A situation where a social worker in level 13 is receiving 250,000 naira a month, while his counterpart in the civil service is receiving 1,000. Now we have compared ours with that of neighboring states. Some states are paying 150, 130. We say we can't be paying 150, 350 anymore. The difference is much. We are going to accept the actual salary they are supposed to get while we negotiate on their claims. The situation where House Assembly workers are asking for hazard allowance, and be paying themselves a hazard allowance and paying themselves upkeep allowance. And I asked what's hazard allowance. They said when two honorable members are fighting, they might get injured. I mean, that doesn't make sense. And I said, no, we can't pay those allowance anymore.
What the governor said was his own decision. Labour maintains that we want the salary to be paid before any other thing. Any other negotiation, we want our salaries of all the staff, all those ones they cut off their salaries, we want all their salaries to be paid before we can enter into proper negotiation. So there's no agreement. Now we're here today is still pleading with him. They're still pleading with the Senate. Please pay workers, parastatals, pensioners their salaries. Pay them their salaries. Even if you are going to cut somebody's salary, you're going to do that. If you had paid within the month you're owing these people, it wouldn't have affected them.
As Nigeria joins the world to mark another World Tourism Day, with this year's theme being 1 billion tourists, 1 billion opportunities. Our Plateau State correspondent takes a look at the tourist sites in Plateau State. The reports.
There are tourist centers in Plateau State that have the capacity to attract great wealth and enhance rapid development in the Middle Belt state. However, Plateau State is indebted to its workers, pensioners and contractors, and recently got a meager 5 billion naira from the federal government as bailout fund to cushion its internal obligation. When it has the capacity to generate such amount in multiple folds monthly through tourism. Experts are of the opinion that the tourist opportunities in Plateau State are even more than that of several countries in the world that depend solely on tourism for their national revenue derivation. Some of the tourist sites in Plateau State include the Rian Rock, Waserak, Plateau Mambila, Cheryl Hills, Rayfield Resorts, Wildlife Park, Plateau Museum, among several others. Enjoy the view with some traditional tunes.
Ojide Oba, which literally means King's Arcade, is an annual celebration of the Ijebu people in Ogun State, which brings Ijebu people home from far and near. The celebration is described as one of the greatest festivals of culture in the southwest and is usually held on the third day of the Del-Kabir celebrations. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ajayi was there and brought in this report.
Although leads to Ijebu Day at the Ojide Oba Festival, it is an annual event that brings the Ijebu sons and daughters and other dignitaries together in the celebration of the rich culture of the Ijebu land. The natural funfair and coloration of the event has transformed the celebration further than a mere carnival of the Ijebu kingdom at the King's Palace. Speaking at the event, the host Awujale of Ijebu land, Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetono, is quite optimistic of the culture of the Ijebu land.
I greet you on this special occasion we've had this occasion
Festival remains one of the most celebrated and powerful events, not only in our state, but in Nigeria. The attraction of eminent personalities from both home and abroad, and the wide range of tourists it attracts, is an attestation to the fact that the festival has over the years gained both national and international recognition and status.
The event also played host to the governor of Bayelsa State, who hails the rich culture of Ijebu people.
I'm here today to honor my father and to join my brothers and sisters, particularly my Giwa and others in the Regbe groups, and particularly in my own, the Jagumolu. Yes. He's the leader. And I've come to join them and all the Ijebus from far and near, and all the good and wonderful people of our country and of this state to celebrate history and culture and tradition.
Sons and daughters of Ijebu land also have this to say.
It's an annual thing that we used to pay homage to our paramount ruler, which is the Awujale of Ijebu land. And every age grades in Ijebu lands come together to pay homage.
It's where we all come together as a family and entertain the whole Ijebu people and the whole Nigeria. So it's something we always look forward to.
Well, it's the Leya festival, and it's coming together of all the Ijebu sons and daughters to pay homage to the king, to the Awujale, who has done so much for his people and who is a very much loved monarch.
The festival, as of today, has the endorsement of Globacom and other bodies, which has transformed to a universal, recognized, and acceptable event that is attracting people from within and outside Nigeria. Once in a year, the people of Ijebuland gather together to celebrate the Ojudeba festival, which connotes unity and peace. It is expected that this will translate into national development in our country, Nigeria. From Ogun State, here in Ijebode, I am Emmanuel Ajayi, reporting for CoreTV News.
We'll go for another break, now return with more stories. To stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. And Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back in business. A federal high court in Lagos is adjourned to November 24, 2015, a suit challenging a proposed increment in electricity tariff. A Lagos-based lawyer, Toluwani Adebiyi, instituted the action in May following the announcement of the proposed hike by the chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, Sam Amadi. Adebiyi prayed the court to stop any hike in electricity tariff until there has been a meaningful and significant improvement in power supply to at least 18 hours in a day in most Nigerian communities. The applicant is also asking the court to mandate the NERC to make available to all Nigerians prepaid meters within a maximum time frame of 2 years. And now to the foreign stories. Renewed violence between Muslim and Christian communities in the Central African Republic has killed at least 36 people and wounded at least 80 persons. Sporadic gunfire was heard today in the capital Bangui, and there were reports of widespread looting in the city, which suggested that the tensions are yet to subside. In a statement, Doctors Without Borders said their teams are working to stabilize the injured persons. A Muslim community leader, Usman Abakar, disclosed the fighting began early on Saturday as Muslims attacked a Christian neighborhood in Bangui after the body of a Muslim man was left near a mosque. Meanwhile, the government has announced a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew to curtail the violence. Russian President Vladimir Putin says any attempt to overthrow the government in Syria could lead to a failed state like Iraq or Libya. Putin, speaking on Sunday at the sideline of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, said Syrians should be able to decide the fate of their country. The Russian president pointed out that the only solution to the Syrian crisis is strengthening the effective government structures and rendering them help in fighting terrorism, while urging them to engage in positive dialogue with the rational opposition and conduct reforms. And finally, Taliban fighters have carried out an early morning raid on the city of Kunduz in Afghanistan, entering the northern city from 3 different directions. Report says Kunduz city was in the lockdown today as security forces attempted to fight back. A Taliban spokesman disclosed that the armed fighters have also taken control of its 200-bed hospital in the city following the raid. This attack is the second time this year that the Taliban have threatened to seize Kunduz, which is the main city of Kunduz province. And that's it on CoreTV News on this hour. Thank you so very much for watching. I am Nina Nyama. Good afternoon.